right. Hello, everyone. And Connor, long time no here. How you doing?
Scotty, how are you? It's been a while. How
It
long has
has
it been?
been.
A long time.
You know what? I reckon the start of 2019, probably, like
Yeah,
January 2019.
before you went to China, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, like long
So
before,
it's
yeah.
so it's not quite 18 months, but getting close to it. Oh my goodness me. How
Lots,
about that?
What's happened since then? You've
Phew.
been trading for a prop firm since then.
I have.
It's
Yeah.
it's just going up and up for you.
I'm
Yeah.
not a full-time trader yet. For the record,
Who is?
everyone,
Who
it's
is?
still trading is a little bit harder than I
Yeah.
thought it would be. So, but yeah, guy, I think it's episode 100 and something. I know we clicked over 100.
Yeah.
Because we've been doing it for like 2 years or so, and then maybe 106, 107. Um, but yeah, so guys, we are back. What do we call it? Pippin ain't
Whatever.
easy.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it
yeah.
was Pippin ain't easy.
Yeah,
So
Pippin ain't easy, isn't that the truth?
that's true. Exactly, everyone. You can respect that, traders. And I don't think we have any real pimps watching it, but if we do, they know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, okay, just to start, guys, I just thought I'd bring up the US index as well. Obviously, if you watch the channel a little bit, you see that I do sort of like to trade the Aussie dollar. I don't know why. It just sort of happens like that. Um, but we're trading currently 99.46, and it sort of looks like it's turning over here. I've got the daily chart, and look, it's not something I would sell, but it looks like there's a little bit of weakness in the market. And we've got some support down at 98 high, 98.80, 98.75, where it bounced a little while ago, mid-April. Can't believe it's nearly May as well.
Mm.
That's freaking crazy. But we were discussing, Connor and I, just before, and from a trend trading perspective, that there is still things that I'll bring up the Aussie, Connor, because you were talking about you were looking at potentially if there was a break of the trend line, you would not a sell trade, but it's still looking like it's strong, really.
Yeah, I've got like a support line at 65028,
Yep.
and then I've just got you can see the trend line channel on the. I'm not sure if you're looking at the 4 hourly, but that's what I'm looking at.
Let's bring up the foot. Yep, it's up now.
Okay, so
Perfect.
can you see there's a strong trend line with higher high?
Yeah. Yep.
So, like,
Let me draw that in.
my thesis would be if it broke through the trend line and through the 65028, like in a breakout,
Yeah.
then it maybe try to get above that trend line again and then have another like bullish candle down. Then I might say, okay, there's a breakout there and it's no longer in the trend. But if anyone wanted to, and this is just my humble opinion, if anyone thought that it was going to be breaking this trend line anytime soon, I just can't see it. Like, that's not what the market's showing me. That's not to say it won't happen, but even if it did, it sort of be like, yes, so what? Like, trends do break outside the trend line a lot and then keep going upwards. So that's just what I'm thinking at the moment. Unless it really did that, not interested.
Look, as Connor was talking, everyone, I was drawing in the trend line, as you guys can see. And, it's as simple as that, really. And I've had a few questions recently about trading strategies and things like that. And it's honestly, the simpler the better. And you're probably going, Scott, there's no indicators on the chart. And that's correct. Both Connor and I learned, that way. And it just sort of, I see some people's charts and they're so congested. And it's like, what is going on here? It's just so messy and conflicting. You want to try and be like, this is it, and then you just take it, and there was a bounce off the trend line back earlier in the month, like the 23rd of April, and hit the low there of like 62.82. You might have taken it on the next candle, and you're in it's like over 300 pips profit, and it's sort of that easy. It's just psychologically, it's when you come to apply it, especially in the real markets, with live money, it's sort of. That's where it gets a little challenging. And I mean, we didn't talk about this in the previous podcast, but you were in silver pretty much all of 2019, not quite all of. So, yeah, and that was like a 12% trade or even more?
It was up. Yeah, well, I'd stuffed it up, forgive me, Father, but I got a bit cocky. I was doing everything through the normal, like following my patterns, things like that, and it got up to like 35%. And then I got confident and I took a trade I shouldn't have. Long story short, I ended up just being up like about, I think it was 11%, 12%. So I should have taken more off the table. But even still, it wasn't bad for just having that one trade. That was all done through just looking at the candlesticks. I've never really liked the indicators because I don't fully understand what's going on with a lot of the indicators. I like a moving average.
Yeah.
Because you kind of get what's going. It's the median range. Between the mean between where it's been closing for the last 100 days. I sort of get that. But when you start getting into the Ichimoku and the MACD, I just can't keep up. My brain can't keep up with it. So
it looks cool. It does look cool on the. You're like, wow, if you were a beginner, but look at all that. But like Connor just said, guys, it does. It's okay to be confused, and you don't want that really.
Yeah, well, why would you want to trade something? Well, Warren Buffett talks about it. Like if he doesn't understand it, he doesn't buy the stock. Like if he doesn't get it, Coca-Cola is easy for him to understand. It's a soft drink that people like. But this, like when you start getting into that, the MACD and some of it, like they try and explain it to you, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm not mathematically inclined like that anyway. And people make a lot of money from it, of course, and and hats off to them. But me, I just understand by looking at the candles what's going on. I'm part of the church of what's happening now.
That's right, exactly. And like we just said, guys, if it does work for you, it's okay. But if you're beginning, and it's much easier just to focus on the price action instead of sort of getting all these indicators all over the chart, and you get very overwhelmed. Now, as Connor was talking, I have the silver chart up, guys, on the weekly time frame. Now, you had it against the Aussie dollar, didn't you, Connor?
Yeah, against the Aussie dollar.
Yeah.
And that was also to a bit of a fundamental thesis that I thought that the Australian dollar was looking for the last year. And if you go back through all our podcasts, we were saying how weak it was looking. That at the time, the housing market wasn't looking overly good. There'd been that royal inquiry into everyone had been over leveraged in our housing market. So I didn't think the Australian, and plus China and Australia at the time, especially, were joined at the hip, and China had all the trade embargo or the tariffs against them. So it wasn't looking great for the Australian dollar anyway. At the same time that, as you knew, gold was going up, and silver in the past had followed gold in a lagging sense, but however, when the whole Corona thing happened, that didn't happen. When gold went up, silver didn't go up, and that's probably because it's more nowadays. People could argue that it's more of an industrial metal being used in solar panels, for example, these sorts of things. Used in a lot of medical. In the medicinal industry as well, so surprised that they didn't want to buy when it was all happening, but the whole economy shut down. So that's when it flunked, and I was like, oh, well, there goes that thesis. But anyway.
But right now, I don't actually have the silver against the Aussie dollar chart, but I've got against the US dollar on the weekly here, and it's actually around where your entry would have been early last year. As well. So it's sort of interesting right now. Like it could, it obviously, there was panic selling, it looks like, at the start of the year, but then it bounced. And I mean, have you looked at it again at all, or you're sort of not quite?
I haven't looked at the, I don't have it in front of me. I could get it up, it'll take too long. It's on my Wand account. But sorry, what was the question again? It was about the.
It sort of looks like it's at the level you got into.
Well, that happened. That happened in the 2008 crisis too, when gold was started to go up, At the start, it crashed because everyone liquidated and they had other issues and they had other margin calls they need to meet. So they need to get their cash from somewhere. And when you're in a panic and you've got to start paying off you're getting your margin calls, you're going to take your cash out of wherever, and which happened in the precious metals market. And so that's what's happened. And if you look at 2008, go back to have a look at that. For instance, on gold or silver, you'll see that it went down, but then it went back up.
Mm-hmm. Look, so guys, if you're just hearing us, obviously we're off on, a bit of a tangent here, but, you definitely, it helps to have a thesis to the trade. So if you just go blindly into it, unless you're a pure technical trader, which is fair enough, I think James Kensington was like that. He could place a trade and then just leave it and not even check it, because he would have his trailing exit inbuilt to the trade and everything, like it would move, as it would move, in his favor. But, it's just very challenging to do that. So it just helps to have a few things in your favor.
It's challenging mentally. I would suggest, for those who don't know, I like to trade on the daily anyway, the weekly. So if you're going to be trading, if you like to trade on the daily, you may be in a trade for 6 months or something like that. So it's a bit hard psychologically if you're trading technically, but you think something else fundamentally. So I might see a great technical trade on copper, but go, hang on, no one's building anything. And we were talking about this before. I was like, copper's going to go down. I was totally wrong. It started to go up because I was like, where's the demand for copper at the moment?
Yeah.
But, stimulus packages came out, throwing money everywhere.
I read maybe ventilators.
There have to be a lot of ventilators made for that much copper that's needed.
That might have just been buying the hype, potentially. You know what I mean? Because it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, how much copper is in a ventilator?
Well, they call it Dr. Copper, right? So it shows the health of an economy. Now, if you're going to give out a big stimulus package, then that stimulus needs to be spent, and most likely copper will be, whatever they make, copper will be needed. So that's where potentially that copper price went up. But I don't know. I feel that's kicking the can down the road. We can go into all those sorts of those rabbit holes about what's going on there. But if you like to trade the 4-hourly though, then probably having a fundamental thesis may not really be needed. Like a lot of the time, I'll just see a good, nice candlestick that I like to trade, and on a 4-hour. Right. I don't need to be diving into the internet and into reports from the government or anything to see what the GDP of one country is versus the other, and go back and do all this research for a trade that I'm going to be in for 28 hours or something like that. To me, there's not a lot of point.
Yeah. Now, as we were discussing, I checked the S&P 500, and we're talking stimulus packages and whatnot, and it seems that the US market is still, holding up. We won't go on to Donald Trump and what he says and everything like that, because that's probably a podcast on its own. But I do have the Euro Aussie up here, Connor, as well. This might be the last pair we talk about, because I have noticed the time we've I think there's been meaningful conversation, though, to be fair. This has been, not just dribbling on.
Thank you, Scott.
Do you have any thoughts on the Euro Aussie? Because I've sort of got a trend line here. It sort of has already taken off, though. It's sort of
on the Euro Aussie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's like on the 4. Are you looking on the 4-hour chart?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. That's looking good. That's looking like a good strong 4-hour trend line going on. I have that it's busted through resistance at 1.65933. And now it's just fully a bullish candles happening, and we'll see what goes on there. But that's got potential to keep going down if it fits within that funnel, that nice trend funnel going on. I'd be interested in just taking a trade maybe for a day or two on that. See what happens. I'm using like a 3-bar exit strategy on that, so I don't tend to be in those sorts of trades on a trend line like that for too long.
And would you, just to finish, would you narrow down to the 1 hour for an entry, or
No.
you'll just wait for the 4? Okay.
I'll just wait for it, but the
the
candle has to be like, it has to be a good bullish candle or a good like kangaroo tail. Something like that. And if it's like around this time, because if there was a kangaroo tail, for instance, and it busted up through the resistance line, that would look cool. And then maybe I'd take the next candle on there. But if it was just a bullish candle, like a big bullish candle, maybe not, because then it would be looking to go up. Because that trend line, I don't know if it's showing on your Scotty, it's pretty thin. Like it doesn't have a lot of room to move in between bars before it bounces back up. So I don't know where I could really find some good profit if it's just going to bounce up again like that off a 3-bar entry. So if you don't know what a 3-bar exit is, maybe we can do a talk about something like that a bit later.
I think, do you have a video that you put up on your channel? I could find it.
Not on the 3-bar. The 3-bar is something I've been using on this newer system that I use. If I do like a box trade, I don't use a 3-bar because that's more to do with having higher highs and higher lows.
That could be a potential next video. I think that's because that's quite a good one. I've tried that as well, and it does have a lot of value. And it's easy, and it's it keeps things very objective. Like it's not confusing at all. So it's less prone to be. It's less prone to be like poor judgment is used. It's quite clear cut.
If you take a trade in the Asian session, just say by the end of the New York session or something, you've pretty much had your 3 bars move, and you can almost be at break even within a day, and then you can chill out a bit. But since we last actually spoke on in this sort of forum, like I only use a 0.5% now. You're doing the same, aren't you? 0.5% per
Honestly,
trade?
that's really helped. Helped. You're much more carefree. It's great. I used to be doing like 2% or one, and that's a little. It's too much. It's like
I did 2%, and I lost 10 trades in a row. And then I did that 11 where I was 11%, like 11 to 1 it was. So I ended up I think I even ended up even after that good silver trade down. Like it was down like 6%. Because you had 10 trades in a row, 2%, and that devastates your account. And it's great that you feel like you can handle it on Forex Tester, but you've got to think about it almost like I like to think about things professionally. Like I have to explain to someone why I lost their money, because you can explain to yourself why you lost your money. And you're like, oh, who cares? I was just going to spend that money down at the boozer and hookers and Coke or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. It's better to have a
But if that's no way to trade. You've got to really say, hey, why did you lose? Your boss comes up to you and says, why did you lose this? And what would your answer be? That's what you got to that's how I sort of look at it anyway.
Yeah. I think, that's probably good closing comments, to be fair. That's something for, the traders to think about, instead of sort of treating the trading account like it's fun money. Try get a little serious with how you approach it. And, the huge swings in equity are really bad. Like, that's not, no one's going to give you money to trade with if you, and even if you already have a lot of money, trading like recklessly is terrible. Like, you're going to lose a lot of money and senselessly. So, yeah.
And losing 10 trades in a row, Scott, that's not uncommon for those who don't know. Like, that's not like, this person clearly didn't know it. That can happen. And when you're doing it and it's happening consecutively, and especially if you're trading on a 4-hour, I trade on a daily a lot of the time, trade on the 4-hour too, you're getting a trade a week pretty much that you're losing, and then it just happens.
It does. I think that's it,
Yeah, and we've also too just it helps to talk to someone and text them, be like, hey, I'm out of the market at the moment. It's doing funny things.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're just like, oh, good. It's not just me thinking that I don't know what's going on. Like people don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
You start looking at the market. There's all these wiki candles going on. The candle sizes are huge, and you're just like that's where now I just go, no, I'm out. I'll just wait until this passes and something that looks familiar comes up again. If it takes a month, it takes a month.
I completely agreed. And guys, if you have watched it throughout, I hope you got something out of that as well. I've got nothing to add to that, honestly. I think that's gold standard advice. Like, I mean, if you could, if someone listens to this, please follow it. Don't just be like, oh yeah. This, because I think that's extremely important to appreciate. Staying out is actually very appropriate, especially when you don't know what's going. Protecting your capital is very important. All right, Connor. Do you have anything else to add to it, or?
No.
Yeah, I thought that was good. It was 20 minutes, but that flew by. But anyway, guys, I think next time we might talk about. We'll try our best to get another one out soon, but we will be bringing out another podcast soon, I think, because both Connor and I are back in Australia. Well, I'm back in Australia for a while longer, so. But yeah, thank you, Connor, for the words, and happy trading, everyone. Thanks again, Connor.
See you, mate. Bye.